At that moment, I felt something inside me freeze, but I stayed silent. They had no idea the deed wasn't even in my name anymore. One decision was about to turn their celebration upside down. My name is Olivia, and this is how a Christmas dinner became the night I learned family can betray you deeper than strangers. London at 10:42 p.m. is a long exhale. Rain hovered without committing. The Thames lay pewter under my window. The Shard blinked like a metronome for people who still send deliverables on holidays. I was one of them, redlining a report, sipping coffee that had died 2 reheats ago, when my laptop flashed Family Heart HQ. I let it ring a beat too long, then clicked accept. Mom's face filled the screen, first glossy lips, a sweater sprouting sequined wreaths. Livy, sweetheart. Marjorie trilled in the register she saves for good news and bad decisions. We didn't wake you, did we? It's not midnight. I kept my voice even. What's going on? Dad edged into view, behind her cheeks pink from wine or victory. We've got it sorted, Caleb announced. The wedding. No more worry. A nerve lit up at the word sorted. Sorted how? Before they answered, Jake slid into frame, grin, cologne confidence. Lipstick smear on one cheekbone, a sprig of rosemary behind his ear like a punchline. Behind him, the dining room china. We never use pine tree candles. A roast nobody can afford, slow cooking anyway. Liv, you're going to freak, he said, bouncing. We locked Ridgecrest Manor. Glass conservatory strings over the lawn. Sloan, our planner, pulled a miracle. There's even a champagne fountain shaped like a sorted how, I repeated, audit voice flat. Mom's smile wobbled. Honey, you know how tight deposits are before New Year's. And you're in London for months. That apartment is just sitting. Dad lifted a hand. Traffic cop smooth. So we found a buyer. Cash. Great price. Quick close. It's a blessing, Livy. My pulse didn't spike. It slowed. A buyer for what? Your downtown place, Mom said like she'd solved a riddle. You aren't using it. Market's high realtor said we'd be foolish to wait. This way the wedding's covered, and then some. Wonderful, right? My world narrowed to a photo notebook mug river. I breathed past the heat rising in my throat. You sold my condo. It's all family, Dad said. We handled the paperwork. People do this all the time. Which people? My voice found steel. Mom blinked too fast. When parents help their children? We've been managing things while you're abroad. Keys fees the mail. It felt natural to forge my signature. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't have to. Such an ugly word, Mom protested, hand on chest. We signed for you. That's different. You gave us authority years ago when you... No, I said. I didn't. Jake rolled his eyes, hard enough to cause weather. Liv, don't be like this. You make more money than anyone we know. You'll buy better when you're back. This is my wedding, the one shot to do it right. Ava's family is flying in from Palm Beach. If we don't wire the deposit tomorrow, we lose Ridgecrest and the band. Do you understand what that would look like? I looked at him. My brother, who once returned my car with a funny noise and a ticket that wasn't his. My parents, who love big when love comes with receipts. Where's Ava? I asked. In the kitchen with Sloan, he said. Vision boarding. Winter garden. Ivory linens. Imported orchids. We're talking press coverage. This sets my brand for the next 5 years. There it was. His brand. My deed. I let the silence stretch one beat past comfortable. How much? Mom brightened, grateful for math. 120 over your last appraisal. Cash buyer. Caleb says it's a blessing. She touched Dad's arm. A Christmas blessing. And you need, what, 100,000 for the wedding. Jake shrugged. Give or take. For the vision. I nodded like a consultant ending a meeting the client didn't know was over. Well, congratulations. Relief fogged my screen. Dad clapped. Knew you'd understand. Of course, Mom cooed. You've always been our practical one. Jake leaned toward the camera. Knew you wouldn't be weird. Sloane's going to scream when I tell her we're covered. I'll tag you in the announcement. It's gonna go crazy. That won't be necessary, I said. Mom lowered her voice. You'll keep this quiet. Yes, we don't need neighbors thinking we're well. Everyone gets help from family. And your family. Right, I said. Family. I clicked the red button. The call disappeared. Spreadsheets reappeared, a blinking cursor suddenly pretending to be calm. For a minute, I just listened London's low hum, the radiator ticking a siren threading the bridge, a church bell counting with a patience I didn't share. I should have screamed. Instead, I reached for a pen and printed 4 names on my legal pad, each with a box: Harper West, Quinn Title, Renee Patel, Sloan Reed. I drew a 5th box and wrote smaller and neater, the way I write things that matter, Northbridge Holdings, LLC. There's a calm that arrives when you stop pretending people are who you wanted. Not peace, a narrowing. Enough room to decide. I opened Personal Northbridge on my hard drive, operating agreement. Articles of organization. The recorded deed from the county clerk. With each file exactly where I left it, a knot in my stomach untied itself a fraction. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Hi. Olivia. This is Sloan, Ava, and Jake's planner. Quick question about the deposit timeline. Can you hop on a call? A second buzz from Mom. Don't overthink this. It's done. We love you. Merry Christmas. I looked out at the river. The rain finally committed. My grandmother used to say, every family has a script. The oldest gets cast first. The scene doesn't end until she remembers she can walk off stage. I was done forgetting. On my pad, I wrote, "Stop all help. Tonight." Underlined it twice. The cursor in my email pulsed unbothered. I drafted a message to Harper West, subject urgent property fraud. Attach the deed, the operating agreement, the articles. 2 lines of facts. No adjectives. Send. Something in my chest clicked like a lock. The embankment lights blurred, then sharpened, as if the city adjusted its glasses to really see me. Fine. Look. Sloane's text chimed again. Then Jake's answer, your phone. You're being dramatic. I put the phone face down. Coat, scarf, stairwell. The building smelled like damp wool and peppermint. A paper star glowed in a neighbor's window, stubborn and fragile. On the street, the mist thinned to a spray. I tucked my chin into my collar, lifted my umbrella, and walked toward the river. I had one more call to make. And once that connected, the party at Ridgecrest Manor wouldn't be the only thing with a storm warning. If you grow up as the capable one, you don't notice the slow bleed. At first it looks like helpfulness, being the only person who remembers due dates and reads fine print. It looks like a girl who color codes her binders and learns to bake her own birthday cake because mom got tied up. Eventually it looks like a woman with a high-yield savings account, 3 backup plans, and a family that talks to her like she's a checking account with opinions. For 4 years I funded the illusion that we were fine. It started small. A short month when Dad texted the exact mortgage figure down to the cents, punctuated with a thumbs up that read like a fist. A credit card minimum Mom swore she'd cover next week, which turned into me setting up autopay because late fees make me itch. A temporary phone plan for Jake when he was between jobs. He's been between jobs since I was 26. I'm not a martyr. I'm an analyst. I built a spreadsheet called Family Stabilization and told myself it was temporary. Column A, mortgage due the 15th. Column B, utilities due on receipt. Column C, cards that whistled like leaky kettles if you missed the minimum by a day. I routed payments through a pass-through account messy enough to look invisible if anyone snooped, clean enough that I could sleep. I kept it quiet because dignity matters when you're bleeding. I watched my parents beam at church. I watched Jake order another craft cocktail and talk about his future in media like the universe was concierge. No one asked how the lights stayed on. They didn't want to know. The condo, my downtown place, was the one thing that felt like mine. When I got the keys, the doorman shook my hand like I was a grown-up. I bought a whistling kettle and plates that matched. I lined books on a shelf like small promises. That first night I turned off every light and sat in the dark, giddy that the silence belonged to me. A year later I created Northbridge Holdings, LLC. People assume you build paper armor because you're greedy or paranoid. Fine. I was pragmatic. After Dad accidentally gave my spare keys to a handyman, who needed to measure something after Mom announced at Thanksgiving that Olivia's place is basically the family's anyway, after I found a realtor's postcard on my counter. Your mom says you might sell, I got serious. Northbridge meant the deed stopped saying Olivia Hart. It said a name without a childhood attached. I still owned it. I just owned it like an adult who understands love and access aren't synonyms. It felt cruel for a day. Then it felt like oxygen. Here's the part I don't love admitting: I liked being reliable. Competence is a drug. People bring you fires, you put them out, they call you amazing, and for a second you feel indispensable. Applause is nice even when it's silent. But applause doesn't pay principal, and you can't buy your way of respect from people who confuse responsibility with servitude. London has a way of rinsing your memories. After the Christmas Eve call, I made tea. I didn't drink and opened Family Stabilization. The numbers stared back like a stranger I'd been feeding. In 4 years, the mortgage alone, $800 a month, was a little over $134,000. Add the cards, the car, the temporary phone plan, the emergencies that only happen to people who never save for them, it was a salary and then some. Mine. No one forced me. No one thanked me. Mom loves a story about me at 8, the tiny CEO who sold out her Girl Scout cookies sash like a war chest. She always laughs at the punchline, little Livy counting money while Jake ate the crumbs. She skips the part where I used my prize to buy cups and napkins for his class party because she forgot. It made me feel useful. It made it easy to use. When I moved to London 8 months ago, I told myself distance would force boundaries. The opposite happened. The time zone made me the perfect net awake when they needed me, late available, when they wanted answers early. I learned about 2 transit systems and the city's best Wi-Fi. My mother learned that if she forwarded an overdue notice with urgent in the subject, she could nap. None of this justifies what they did. It explains why they thought they could. I scrolled my transactions like a cardiologist reading a tired heart. Predictable spikes and dips of rhythm with nothing to do with my life and everything to do with theirs. Every month I pressed the little green check. Every month I chose quiet over conflict. No more. I opened the bank app to the tab that feels like pulling a fire alarm, Manage Recurring Transfers. The list populated Mortgage Hart Residence, Utilities Bundle. The metal card Mom insisted made her creditworthy. Jake's phone plan. The tiny ACH that covered overdraft fees they blamed on the bank. I hit pause on each one. The app asked, "Are you sure my thumb didn't shake?" Yes. A spoon clinked in the flat above me. Someone laughed in the hallway. Big Ben did whatever Big Ben does at the top of the hour when you're too keyed up to hear it. On my desk, yesterday's names started from my legal pad: Harper Quinn Renee Sloan Northbridge. I drew a line under them and wrote, "Stop being useful. Start being clear." I drafted an email to myself titled, "The Story I'm Willing to Tell, Not a Manifesto, Just Dates and Choices." The first time I paid their mortgage, Dad's bonus delay. The first time I covered the card, Mom's hospitality expenses. The time Jake promised to Venmo me and sent a GIF instead. The night I ate ramen to float their bill at a restaurant I couldn't afford. Then the sentence I'd never said: "I am not your solution. I am your daughter." When I looked up, the window had fogged where I'd breathed too close. My phone lit with a text from Sloan. "Hi, Olivia. Quick thing, Ava's parents are excited about the press. Can you confirm you'll handle the balance this week? We're aiming for a people feature." I exhaled, half laugh, half knife. A feature. Of course. Another buzz, hometown area code. Ms. Hart. This is Renee Patel at First Federal. Please return my call regarding recent activity on an account connected to a property at 12th and Mercer. So the bank was waking up. Good. Outside, the Thames ran black and steady. My grandmother's script had me in scene 1, forever the good daughter who pays. I tore a corner from my pad and wrote in letters big enough to count from the moon, "I quit the role." The apartment felt very quiet. I closed my laptop, caught my reflection in the black screen, older than I felt, younger than this week made me. My phone chimed once, a polite confirmation that a transfer had been canceled. Then a different sound, low insistent. An incoming video call on my laptop. Not my parents' name. Ava Brooks would like to FaceTime. I stared at it, my thumb hovering over accept, and smiled without humor. If she wanted a story for people, I had one starting with the part where the walking wallet stopped walking. The morning after Christmas, London looked scrubbed and gray like the city had stayed up too late and needed aspirin. I opened my laptop expecting a post-holiday quiet. Instead, my inbox marched at me in heels. Subject lines from Sloan Reed Jake and Ava's planner tap danced down the screen, final deposit schedule. Press opportunities. Ridgecrest Manor holds. Design board Winter Garden. Urgent wire instructions. I clicked the first. The bullets read like a ransom note. Guest count 300, confirmed 28 optional children, translation they're coming. Music 12-piece orchestra, plus DJ after party. Music journey. TBD. Floral imported phalaenopsis. Maybe peonies if we can fly them an ice-sculpted trough for cascading stems. Food raw bar, plus carving stations, plus late-night nostalgia snacks, Jake's idea obviously. Press people is maybe if photos are iconic. Local luxury mag is a yes if we secure the conservatory. At the bottom they ask do within 48 hours, $37,500 venue, $12,000 band, $9,800 floral, $4,500 planner retainer bump, $3,900 AV, $2,100 content team. A neat total with 2 zeros that look like eyes rolling. Sloan attached a mood board, Ava in a silk column. Jake in a tux. He had no business sweating through Ridgecrest's glass conservatory, glowing like a snow globe. Gorgeous, sure. Also fantasy. Also billed to me. Email 2, landed before I exhaled. Hi Olivia. Looping you as the financial point of contact. Need your wire timing today. Also, are you open to hosting a media-friendly welcome dinner? It positions the story. X. Sloan. The kisses felt like crossed swords. Email 3. Events at Ridgecrest. Manor thrilled to welcome the Brooks Hart celebration. Balance due by week's end or the date is released. Wire details attached. Financial point of contact. Funny how fast sister turns into CFO when there's a chandelier involved. I typed and deleted 3 replies. The part of me that keeps lipstick in the glove box keeps a tiny hope for shame, too. Surely somewhere between snow machines and a content team, someone would blink and say, "This is too much." That hope is how you get used to it. It keeps you polite when you should be precise. My phone buzzed. Ava. Hi Olivia, Sloan CC'd you, so excited. Things are moving fast, lol, but in the best way. Thank you for being so supportive. We're going to show people what a modern wedding can be. Show people. There was the brand again. Ava speaks fluent narrative. I answered in transcript-ready English. I'm in London this quarter. Please direct financial matters to Jake and my parents. Her dots appeared, disappeared, or returned. Of course, totally. It's just that they said you're the decision maker for the condo sale funds, so the words landed like sleet. Condo sale funds. I hadn't said a syllable about Northbridge to her. My hands went cold before my tea did. My laptop chimed. DocuSign, your documents are completed. The subject line made the back of my neck prickle. I hadn't signed anything. I clicked. A cheerful certificate of completion loaded yellow-blue tabs doing their corporate best. Grant deed. Notice of right to cancel. Under signer Olivia E. Hart. Status completed. I scrolled to what most people ignore, the audit trail. 3:11 p.m. ET. Envelope created by Marjorie Hart. Access link from an IP that geolocates to my parents' street. Delegated to Olivia E. Hart, signing privileges on file. 6:14 p.m. ET. Signature completed from the same household IP, the one Jake named Hartnett, because subtlety bores him. E-notary remote session with Dale Whitman Commission in our state duration, 3 minutes 12 seconds. Knowledge-based authentication passed. I didn't breathe until I reached the signature block. There it was, my slanted "Oh the halo" if you squint. Except the baseline wobbled. The stroke order was wrong. It looked like a scan from my grad school letter, the version you keep in a proud parent's file cabinet, not on a deed. I clicked the notary seal. The image field required for remote notarization was black. The video session link spun and errored. 3 minutes isn't enough to check a name, let alone a face. If they spoofed a webcam with an old headshot, I wouldn't be surprised. My mother keeps everything. My brother borrows everything. Between the two of them, identity isn't sacred. It's handy. I forwarded the entire DocuSign package to a folder named Evidence and to myself. Then I wrote Sloan a note chilled to 38 degrees F. I am not the financial contact. Do not list my name on contracts. Any reference to condo sale funds is inaccurate. I didn't add the word hanging off the end of my tongue illegal. That one had a different destination. Sloan's first email had included a press run of show. I opened it against my better judgment. A segment titled, The Family That Invested in Love. Complete with a bullet. Olivia, the big sister, immediately stepped up to make the dream possible. I laughed. It sounded like a sound effect, not a laugh. Another ping, Quinn Baker from the title company Ms. Hart, reaching out to confirm your wire instructions and identity verification. A relative indicated signature already handled, but we require direct confirmation. The quotation marks around already handled made my teeth hurt. I screenshotted the audit trail IPs, timestamps the whole cheerful lie, and drag the image into a brand new email to the person you call when kindness stops working, Harper West. Subject urgent. Suspected forgery deed, Harper attaching the DocuSign cert. Note: delegation plus IP. Notary video missing session. Former parents told Ridgecrest these are condo sale funds. I'm done being polite. Call when you can. I'm GMT. Before hitting send, I let myself look at the mood board one more time. The glass roof twined with lights. A violinist in sapphire. Winter pretending to be magic if someone else pays the heating bill. I could almost see Jake spinning Ava under that ceiling. I could almost hear my mother's shiny tears. Then the audit trail flashed again and the thin ice cracked. London outside was umbrellas and low clouds. Inside, the kettle clicked off. My phone lit with Jake Sloan says you're being difficult. Don't ruin this for me. I hit send on Harper's email. The whoosh sounded like oxygen. Ridgecrest accounts piled on friendly reminder without full remittance in 48 hours your date will be released to other clients. We'd hate to disappoint your families during the holidays. I stared at the clock noon in London's 7 a.m. back home and called Renee Patel before the bank lines got mean. She picked up on the second ring. First Federal Renee speaking. Ms. Patel, this is Olivia Hart. My parents just sold a property they don't own. I have the certificate to prove it. Silence. Then the sound of someone sitting up straighter. Ms. Hart, I've been hoping you'd call. Because what I'm seeing on my screen, it doesn't add up. Good, I said calm, sliding into place like a blade. Let's make it add up for a judge. Harper answered on the first ring like she'd been waiting with her coat on. Olivia, tell me I'm about to ruin someone's afternoon. You're about to ruin their whole brand, I said, pacing between the London window and the kettle. They sold a condo they don't own. Remote e-notary under 4 minutes. DocuSign audit shows my mother's IP and a delegation they invented like a hall pass. Breathe, she said, but I could already hear her typing. Who holds the title Northbridge Holdings, LLC? I said. Formed a year after I closed. Member managed. I'm the sole member and the managing member. The recorded deed shows transfer from me to Northbridge 18 months ago. Operating agreement requires my written consent for any conveyance or encumbrance. No POA. No corporate resolution. The only authority my parents ever had was a package room pickup slip and a guest list. Harper whistled. Seatbelt before the crash. Good. Send me recorded deed operating agreement, EIN letter membership ledger, and any minutes or written consents you've done even if today is the first. Paper matters. Also the DocuSign certificate and screenshots of the IPs. I'll subpoena the full audit logs and the notary's video. If there is no video, they have a problem they can't charm. Her request list hit my inbox like a triage chart. "What's first?" I asked. "Two tracks," she said. "Practical and civil. Practical, stop the money. I'm filing an emergency application for a temporary restraining order to freeze escrow and put the buyer title and the bank on notice the deed is voidable. We'll also record a lis pendens so nobody can pretend they didn't know. Civil verified complaint against your parents and anyone who touched this with their eyes closed, fraud conversion, civil theft forgery. Identity theft and declaratory relief voiding the deed. And the notary. Administrative complaint to the Secretary of State for notarial misconduct. Plus spoliation letters to DocuSign and the notary preserve video KBA prompts IP logs connection metadata. E doesn't mean invisible. I pulled the county site, downloaded the stamped deed, grant deed heart to Northbridge Holdings LLC, and felt my pulse even out. Record beats rumor. Quinn at Title Harper continued will be tempted to release funds after a charming voicemail. I'll send an interpleader letter that makes them hold everything or meet my wrath. Buyer's counsel gets a copy. If they're real, they'll want out. If they're a straw, they'll want a refund. Either way, not your problem. Renee at First Federal already called, I said. She's skeptical. Bless the skeptic. Ask her to flag and freeze. Once the TRO hits any bank that moves a penny after notice is playing with fire. She softened. Olivia, you did the hard thing months ago when you moved the title. Today is cleanup. Tell that to my 13 stomachs, I muttered, dragging files into an email. I added a transfer restriction when I formed Northbridge no sale or pledge without unanimous written consent. You're the only member, Harper said, scanning the PDFs. I heard her smile. In Latin that reads, hard no. I forwarded the EIN letter, the membership ledger, then the DocuSign certificate with angry arrows at the IP addresses. Sloan the planner keeps CCing me as financial point of contact and name-checking condo sale funds. She attached a press run of show crowning me the big sister who stepped up. Drop those in a folder called Foundation Myths, Harper said. When they try to sell misunderstanding, we'll sell receipts. Paper shuffled. 2 more to-dos: notify the county fraud unit and loop a detective I like, Miguel Ramirez. He's a grinder, not a headline. If the DA opens a file, I want him first in the room. Got it. I wrote his name on my legal pad like a prayer bead. I'll be stateside next week. Bring a coat. And Olivia. Yes, don't engage emotionally. If they text, forward to me. If they call, let voicemail do its job. We don't argue with people who picked a notary over their daughter. A gust rattled the window. Down on the embankment, a kid cannonballed into a puddle like a verdict. Copy that. My screen is filled with progress bars. When the last file turned green, Harper hummed. Locked. Order of play 1. I filed the complaint and TRO today. 2. Quinn gets our letter. Escrow freezes. Buyer is noticed. 3. Renee confirms the hold and flags related accounts. 4. We record the lis pendens electronically, skull and crossbones on title. 5. I serve Sloan a formal cease, remove your name from all materials. Correct the sale funds myth or explain it to a judge. You think any of them will listen? People don't respect boundaries, she said. They do respect injunctions. I almost smiled. And the optics. Because the title sits with Northbridge. This isn't mom and dad borrowing from their daughter. They defrauded a company. Courts have long memories for that. So do banks. It hit me how language shifts the ground. For years, I'd been the good daughter paying invisible bills. Today, I was the managing member of a company whose asset had been stolen. The first story makes you small. The second makes you loud. Thank you, I said. Don't thank me yet. Sign the electronic verification on the complaint, then make lunch. Today is waiting for other people to realize you were right an hour ago. When the call ended, the flat fell into that soft London quiet where rain edits the edges. I sent Renee a bullet list of what Harper was filing and reattached the DocuSign cert, polite subject line, impolite subtext. My phone vibrated face down. I ignored it until the light died, then checked 3 from Jake Breezy, then Barbed, and 1 unknown. Detective Miguel Ramirez, Ms. Hart. This is Detective Ramirez with Financial Crimes. I'd like to discuss a complaint regarding a property transfer and a potential forged signature. When can you talk? The kettle clicked. A church bell counted out the hour like a metronome for truth. I typed back, now. London woke up mean and wet. The kind of rain that doesn't fall so much as lurk. I watched it bead down the glass while my phone pulsed like a heart monitor. Harper filing TRO now. Ex parte. Holiday duty judge is Lawson. Me. Standing by. Harper 2 min later. Complaint uploaded. DocuSign, Cert plus IP exhibits attached. Courtesy copies to Title Buyers Council Bank. Me. Thank you. Noon in London is 7 a.m. Back home prime time for bankers who still believe in systems. Quinn Baker at Title hit first. Per council's notice, escrow is on administrative hold pending court order. No disbursements will be made. The blandest, most beautiful sentence I'd read all week. Then Renee Patel at First Federal. We've placed a provisional hold on the incoming sale proceeds and flagged related accounts for review. If the TRO is granted, funds remain frozen until further order. She added almost kindly, for what it's worth, Ms. Hart, the notary's log is unusual. I didn't ask for a definition. We were past euphemisms. My muted family group chat roused itself like a furnace coughing soot. Mom, honey, we're seeing a small banking hiccup. Holiday processing, you know. Dad Ridgecrest is pestering about wires. I told them it's handled. Jake Sloan can't reach you. Answer. We have press timelines, Liv. Mom. And sweetie, please don't use the word fraud. It scares vendors. I screenshotted the thread and shipped it to Harper. Harper perfect. Pattern of minimization. Keep everything. Don't respond. I didn't. Instead, Sloan Reed floated in on glossy stationery. Hi, Olivia. Can we jump on a 10-min call? I'm sure this is just a bank thing. Ridgecrest, the band, the floral house are all flexible if we communicate. Also, Ava's parents have questions about the condo funds. I would love your language. Her X6 read like crossed swords. I typed, I'm abroad. I'm not the financial contact. Please coordinate with Jake and my parents. Then I closed the window before I wrote what I actually wanted to write. By mid-afternoon, the sky gave up on daylight. I made soup I didn't want and sat at the tiny table that came with the flat. When you stop holding up a ceiling alone, you can finally feel your arms. At 3:05 p.m. Eastern, Harper texted a photo that was half pixels, half oxygen, a one-page order stamped by Judge Lawson with a single word that makes adults cry, granted. Harper order signed. TRO in effect. All proceeds from the purported sale are frozen. Title notified. Buyer notified. Bank notified. We're recording the lyrics now. My phone went into seizure. Ridgecrest Manor accounts wire. Declined. Reminder your date is subject to release in 48 hours absent full payment. The orchestra. Second installment due today. Card on file failed. Peony and stem, floral international shipment on hold until balance clears. Content team, I refuse to dignify them with a brand reels schedule. TBD once deposits settle. Yesterday's hold impacted deliverables. The group chat flared back to life. Dad, Olivia, call me. Immediately. Mom, the bank says the funds are on legal hold. That can't be right. This is a family matter. Jake, you're ruining momentum. Do you get that? We had a people angle. I set the phone face down and let the kettle sing over them. An unknown number rang through. I let it die, then listened to the voicemail, Ms. Hart. This is Jet Morgan from Ridgecrest Manor accounts. We've attempted the deposit multiple times and are now in breach territory. Per our contract, full payment is due within 48 hours or your date will be released. We'd prefer not to escalate. Please return my call. Forwarded to Harper. Her reply arrived laced with clean ice. Harper. I'll answer Jet. You don't call anyone. Also, notary complaint filed with Secretary of State. Spoliation letters out to DocuSign plus notary. Renee is holding firm. Title recorded, Is Pendon's Skull and Crossbones Achieved? Rain accelerated a drummer finding the beat. Umbrellas opened on the pavement like stubborn flowers. Sloane tried again, weaponizing empathy. Olivia, totally understand you're abroad and swamped. Could you be a doll and simply reply, we're working on it so I can keep vendors at bay? Silence looks not great. I typed erased and sent what was true. Please coordinate with Jake Hart and Marjorie Hart. I am not the player on this event. 3 dots. Then nothing. 15 minutes later, Renee called. I picked it up. Ms. Hart, quick update. The TRO hit both our fax and inbox. Legal has sequestered the funds and flagged related activity. We also identified earlier attempts to open a HELOC against the same property using your credentials. Those failed at 2-factor authentication. I exhaled. Thank you, Ms. Patel. She was gentle. I'm sorry. It's never easy when it's family. It's less easy when they think that word is a password, I said. We hung up. I finally read the order like bedtime for the unamused plaintiff Northbridge Holdings, LLC. By and through its managing member Olivia E. Hart has shown a likelihood of success on the merits of voiding the purported transfer. The balance of equities favors maintaining the status quo. Immediate irreparable harm will occur absent injunctive relief. Accordingly, all proceeds related to the purported sale of the property located at I didn't need the rest. Status quo was the prettiest phrase in English that day. Mom called next. Voicemail again because I have learned. Livy, sweetheart, this is a misunderstanding snowballing. You know how banks are around holidays. Please call Ridgecrest and explain the funds are coming and this is just a technicality. Don't use legal words. It scares people. I set the phone down and felt something inside me go still. I wasn't scaring anyone. I was speaking my language. Then a different tone, altogether polite, pointed expensive. Margaret Brooks, Olivia. This is Ava's mother. We've been made aware of issues regarding the property sale funding the wedding. Our family council would like a word with you today. Please advise. Old money doesn't shout. It schedules. I snapped a photo of the order and sent it to Harper with 4 words. She wants a word. Harper, good. I'll prepare a memo for their council. Fax exhibits, no adjectives. In the meantime, do not engage with vendors or your parents. If Ridgecrest calls again, forward to me. Outside, the river moved like a blade under gray cloth. My phone buzzed with more Fallout-friendly reminders, final notices, content calendars choking on their own acronyms. I set them down like hot plates and let them cool. 10 minutes later, Quinn at Title confirmed the administrative hold in writing, and Renee followed with a formal sequestration notice, funds frozen pursuant to the court's order. Paper, then signatures. The world rebuilt itself along lines that could be measured. Sloane sent one last try, a pitch with glitter on it. If we frame this as a misunderstanding, there's still a path to a love conquers obstacles angle. Call me. I filed it where it belonged. Foundation myths, and watched the rain decide to be honest and just fall. At 3:41 p.m. Eastern. Harper pinged again, Liz Pendon's recorded. The buyer's counsel acknowledged the notice. Bank counsel confirmed receipt. We're taped off like a crime scene. Hold your line. I held it. The room went quiet in that London way that feels like the city has closed its eyes, but left the lights on. My phone vibrated once more, the screen bright with a name that never wastes syllables. Margaret Brooks. Our counsel is available at 2 p.m. Eastern. Please confirm. I looked at the order on my screen, then at the river, then at the umbrella dripping on my mat like a tiny storm I'd already survived. Confirmed, I typed. I put the phone down and let the quiet sit beside me like a witness. When you stop being the net, you learn how to be a trapeze artist. Today the ground stayed right where I needed it, under my feet, under my name, under my company. And somewhere in a very polite office with a very quiet carpet, a mother who'd planned on press was reading a court order that did not care about string lights. The rain softened. The kettle clicked. My pulse matched the metronome of the Shard. Then the screen lit again. Same number, same chill. Margaret Brooke, will speak at 2. Our counsel will have specific questions. She wants a word. By dawn, London had the color of a bruise. I sat with a mug I wasn't drinking and let the city breathe while my phone ran triage ping ping ping. Renee called first. Bankers skip adjectives when they're in compliance mode. Ms. Hart, I've pulled the DocuSign packet, the notary's journal, and our logs. And the e-signature doesn't survive sunlight, she said. KBA questions answered on the first try in under 60 seconds, statistically unusual. The remote notary video is missing. Journal lists a driver's license ending in 3147. Yours ends in 7143. IP geolocates the signing to your parents' address. Each detail dropped into me like a small stone. And the HELOC attempts 3 last quarter. All failed 2-factor. Enough of your data to pass level 1, not enough to be you. We flagged the pattern and notified fraud. Thank you, Ms. Patel. Her voice softened. 19 years doing this. Family cases are the ugliest. We'll cooperate fully with law enforcement. They'll ask, I said. We hung up. The kettle ticked like it wanted to applaud. At 9:17 a.m., an email arrived in old money font from an assistant named like a seasoned Charlotte Ames family office Brooks. Ms. Hart, Mrs. Brooks, requests a written risk memorandum on the legality of the condo sale funds referenced by Ms. Reed current court orders and your representation regarding ownership. Please include a chain of title and any potential criminal exposure. We'd like this today. Of course they would. The Brooks family doesn't fight on Instagram. They fight on letterhead. I forwarded it to Harper. Can you draft? They want it today. Harper, already halfway done. Bulletproof and boring Brooks catnip. Send chain of title plus TRO. I sent the recorded deed, the list pendants receipt, the blessed granted order. I pinged Quinn for a formal escrow hold letter and Renee for a bank confirmation. Paper armor works best in layers. The family group chat, helpfully muted, still found a way to scream. Jake, you're wrecking my life. People were interested. Ava's parents are concerned. Fix it, Dad. This is why we didn't tell you. You always go nuclear. Mom, honey, can you stop saying fraud? The word makes vendors nervous. They used it like a dimmer switch. Fraud isn't a mood. Sloan chimed in from Mission Control. Pulse check. If we get partial wires today, Ridgecrest will hold. I've told the press we're navigating a minor bank delay. We just need everyone on message. On message. I typed, please coordinate with Jake and my parents. Do not list my name on any materials or contracts. Send. Harper's memo landed before my tea cooled. Labeled like a diagnosis. Executive summary funds labeled condo sale proceeds are not lawfully available. Title vests in Northbridge Holdings, LLC. Any purported transfer is voidable. TRO in effect. Escrow frozen. Bank has sequestered proceeds. The notary packet shows irregularities. Potential criminal exposure, forgery, identity theft, filing false instruments. Chain of title attached. Conclusion, using said funds would be knowing participation in a fraudulent conveyance. Vendor payments risk clawback and reputational harm. Recommendation, immediate pause on all commitments. Bulletproof and boring, I texted. Harper, let them frame it. Truth reads well in any frame. I forwarded the memo to Charlotte with a short cover. Please see attached. TRO deed and bank confirmation included. Happy to speak with counsel. I copied Harper and Renee. Not Jake. 10 minutes later, Jake started calling, then kept calling. His voicemail tried for righteousness, and it was spoiled. Liv, what is your problem? You've been jealous of me since we were kids. This is my one big day, and you're dragging lawyers in like a psycho. You live in London. Why do you even care? Just sign the thing. Delete. At noon, Charlotte replied, thank you. Counsel advises we cannot proceed with payments derived from the disputed sale. We will instruct Ms. Reed to pause all vendor activity. Mrs. Brooks requests a brief call at 2 p.m. Eastern. P.S. We appreciate clarity. It saves everyone time. An hour later, a brittle text from Ava. We're pausing per my parents. I hope you're happy. You humiliated me. I typed 3 different truths and sent none. Silence can be a boundary, too. Harper called from her car. Memo landed like a piano. Good. Expect spin. Sloan will act injured. Your parents will call it temporary. Jake will escalate. Don't engage. The only call you take is Margaret's, and I'll be on it. Why does it feel like I kicked a hornet's nest, and also like I'm finally alone in a quiet room? Because both can be true. Eat before the Brooks call. Old money is polite, not patient. At 2 p.m. Eastern, a voice perfected for cordial. Ms. Hart Margaret Brooks. Thank you for the memo. It was clarifying. Glad to be clear. Harper clicked in silently. Our council agrees we should pause all wedding activity, Margaret said. We'll instruct Ms. Reed to rescind guarantees made in our name. One question: do you intend to press criminal charges? I intend to cooperate with law enforcement, I said. The bank flagged the notary packet. A detective contacted me. A detective, she repeated, no exclamation point, just a ledger line. Very well. For what it's worth, we don't do scandals. We do exist. We ended with tidy bullet points, vendor freeze, written notice of hearings, no press statements, professional, antiseptic, done. 5 minutes later, Sloan tried one last spell. I know you think you're protecting yourself, but this can still be a beautiful story. Families come together, obstacles overcome. If we just get the money moving, I closed it. Fairy tales are for people who don't read contracts. Outside rain returned softer, like the city understood something fragile had been removed. My phone buzzed once more. Ava Brooks is calling. I watched her name light the glass and thought, this is either the crack where sunlight gets in or the one where everything falls apart. Then I answered. There's a moment when you stop being the net and realize you're the trapeze artist too. Mine came at 6:12 a.m. London time, a pale seam of daylight under the curtains while the Thames exhaled below. I opened my banking apps not to peek, not to make sure things won't bounce, but to finish what I'd started. In Chapter 2, I paused the transfers. Today, I killed them. Mortgage Hart residence cancel. The app made me type yes, like an oath. Utilities bundle. Terminate external payer. Credit cards remove my backup ACH. Remove my email as responsible party. Revoke paperless statements routed to me. Jake's phone plan cancel at end of cycle, not prorated. The app tried to upsell me on family savings. I laughed out loud. Then I cut the invisible cords, deleted autofill entries I'd created in generous moods, revoked my credit score tools on their devices, placed a credit freeze with all 3 bureaus, and added a fraud alert that would make a loan officer itch if anyone tried to be me again. Next, the house, not the one they'd tried to steal, the one I'd been secretly keeping alive. I'd logged into their mortgage portal so often I could do it half asleep. Today I clicked Remove External Contributor and watched my name fall out of their dashboard like a bad tooth. A banner bloomed, We're sorry to see you go. I wasn't. London rewarded me with a sliver of blue. I brewed coffee and opened a new doc timeline of support 4 years. Not a manifesto. A museum. Dates, amounts. What was due, what I paid, and the "you're a lifesaver" text an hour later. Jan 12, year 1, $2,800 mortgage bonus delayed. Paid. Mar 319, 180. Card hospitality expenses. Paid. June 19, 312. Car insurance forgot. Auto pay reset. Paid. Sunday 1. $800 mortgage. Dad between jobs. Temporary paid. Year 2. Plus a 33 hours. $600 mortgage. $9,740 assorted pre-authorized debits. $720 emergency vet that turned out to be a spa package. Year 3. $2,800 on 12 plus $1, $299.99 for Jake's equipment that never arrived. Year 4, rinse repeat. Tack on overdraft fees I covered so they could yell at the bank without being embarrassed. Mortgage alone, $134. $400. Add everything else and my help rounded up to a down payment on a different life. I made it idiot-proof screenshots with dates, bank logos, visible subject lines intact, packaged like a consultant delivering bad news and charging double for interruptions. At the top of the email, I wrote a sentence so simple it felt like a foreign language. Effective today. I will not be funding your household debts or emergencies. No sermon, no I love you, but C.C. Harper, BCC. A second address, because old habits die carefully. Subject end of support. Full accounting. Attached. I hovered, remembered 8-year-old me buying cups and napkins for Jake's class because Mom forgot and pressed send. Raid receipts arrived like an ugly chorus. Dad first as if he'd been waiting with his finger on the button. Mom next. Then Jake read and typing. For nearly a minute before the weather cleared without rain. While the silence gathered, I did what I should have done years ago, called my building manager. It's Olivia Hart. Please flag any request from my family as unauthorized. No guest passes without my written consent. Also, the spare keys in the lockbox, return them to the desk. No one is authorized to remove them. He coughed, guilty. Ms. Hart, your mother is not me. I said, pleasant as a posted rule. I'll send a letter. A different list filed mail forwarding for any stray paper statements still drifting to their address. Changed emergency contacts. Updated my will to remove a paragraph, leaving household assistance to my parents as needed. The phrase made me want to light something on fire. The group chat returned to its natural state theater. Mom, honey, this is cruel. You know we're in a temporary bind. Dad, you don't cut family off during the holidays. Jake, you're doing this to humiliate me. Ava is crying. Mom. And please don't send documents to outsiders. It's private. Dad, I'm asking you as your father to be reasonable. Jake, if you want to thank you, fine. Thank you. Now fix it. I didn't reply. The new me has a strong union with her thumbs. Harper perfect paper. Clean. No commentary. Proud of you. Also, this is the part that hurts most and heals most. Expect silent treatment, love bombing threats. Forward. Don't engage. 10 minutes later, my inbox pinged with a copy of an email my parents sent to Renee, CCing me like a dare. We believe there's a misunderstanding. Funds from the family condo sale are for a wedding, a one-time celebration, and should not be under a harsh order. We are a family, not criminals. Renee's reply was an ice bath. Funds are sequestered by court order. Please direct legal questions to counsel. The universe delivered confirmations in threes. 1. Bank automation. Your scheduled mortgage payment from external account ending in 713 has been canceled by the contributor. 2. Card app authorized. External payer removed. 3. Mom unusually spare. We can't pay the mortgage due in 12 days. Is that what you want? I typed and erased live within your means. Typed and erased, stop calling theft a misunderstanding. Sent, I won't be paying your bills anymore. You need to make a plan. Then set the phone down and let my hands shake, not from doubt, but from muscle memory releasing. In the quiet, I opened a fresh note titled Boundaries because I like things in writing. Do not explain. Do not negotiate the past. Do not fund a fantasy. Do not make silence into consent. Do not apologize for choosing adulthood over appeasement. Rain returned patient. I pictured the pile of mail on their table, the TRO, the List Pendens receipt I'd overnighted to be courteous, my timeline Ridgecrest's glossy brochures. I pictured my name for once, not under amount due. A local number rang. I let it go to voicemail, then listened pulse steady. Ms. Hart, Detective Miguel Ramirez. I've reviewed the bank's preliminary packet and the e-notary complaint. We'll need your formal statement and copies of any communications you referenced in your accounting email. Also, your parents just filed a report claiming financial harassment. Please call me back. Right on schedule. I saved it, forwarded it to Harper, and replied to Ramirez, happy to cooperate. Then I opened a new folder, Exhibits Harassment versus Accountability, and started dropping screenshots into playstates, times tidy subject lines. At 4:03 p.m., London time, Jake texted again. Swagger stripped. If Ava leaves me over this, it's on you. I stared until the letters blurred, then closed my eyes. When I opened them, a new subject line waited from Charlotte Ames' family office. Brooks Ari risk memo further action. By the Brooks family. I clicked. By late afternoon, London looked washed of color, like the city had blown its budget on Christmas lights. I opened a new folder and named it what it needed to be, not what I felt Northbridge view hard evidence. Then I started feeding it facts. First in the recorded deed transfer from Olivia E. Hart to Northbridge Holdings LLC stamped by the county. Then the operating agreement IN letter, a thin membership ledger showing exactly one member, me, and the seatbelt clause, no sale pledge or encumbrance, without the member's written consent. Next, the DocuSign certificate of completion audit trail saying my name while the IP screamed otherwise. I screenshotted the wobbly signature and circled the mismatched driver's license digits. Sometimes you have to draw the arrow. I added escrow emails. Quinn Baker's administrative hold the title office confirming the lis pendens. Then Renee Patel's letter sandpaper in an ice bath, funds sequestered by court order. HELOC attempts blocked at 2FA. Notary irregularities under review. And because women get accused of hysteria when we mean memory, I dropped in login logs and email timestamps my chain of custody bracelet. Harper called while I was cropping dates. Build me a clean timeline for the memo, she said. Facts only. Timestamps, not adjectives. No unbelievable or audacity. Exactly. Brooks's family office wants clarity. Give them beige. Let the evidence carry the drama. So I turned outrage into bullet points. 18 months ago. Title to Northbridge recorded deed attached. Deck 24, 3:11 p.m. EAT DocuSign envelope created by Marjorie Hart via Access Link Home IP. Deck 24, 6:14 p.m. ET. E-signature completed from same IP. Notary journal shows wrong ID digits. Remote video missing. Deck 26. First Federal Places hold. TRO granted by Judge Lawson. Escrow frozen. Lis pendens recorded. Deck 27 banknotes. Prior failed. HELOC attempts blocked at 2FA. Boring on purpose. Courts love boring. Harper reviewed live comments popping up like nods. Good. Add Ridgecrest demanding funds and Sloan's financial point of contact email. Shows knowledge built on a false premise. I tucked those in, then wrote a one-page cover in the first person, no spin, no apology, to the Brooks family. You requested a risk memorandum. Attached are documents showing the property belongs to Northbridge Holdings LLC. Any purported sale lacked the members' consent, and a court order has frozen all proceeds pending litigation. I'm not asking you to take sides. I'm asking you to read the record. Olivia E. Hart, Managing Member Northbridge Holdings LLC. I didn't email attachments. I built a read-only data room, downloads disabled email verification required alerts on. Not petty, just done being sloppy. Shared to Charlotte Ames family office, Brooke C.C. Harper. The analytics wheel spun, opened by Charlotte. 41. Opened by Margaret. 46. Time on DocuSign. Audit 8M12s. Time on TRO, 6M03s. That was the professional fire. The personal one lit right on cue. Mom called 3 times. Syrup Livy. We can talk about this without documents. Take it down. Sharp. You'll humiliate this family over a misunderstanding, small and dangerous. Your father hasn't slept. Is that what you wanted? Dad texted a forgiveness verse, then a prodigal verse, then a blog screenshot about how legalism kills families as if Google notarizes forged deeds. Jake sent a paragraph that read, like a drunk PR intern, "You're spinning this to make me look like a thief. Ava's getting messages. Fix it." Then a voice note I didn't play. I forwarded everything to Harper and shut the chat like a door. Sloan tried professional sympathy. If we land one partial wire, I can hold the band 72 hours. This will be a great story when the dust settles. I stared at great story until it turned back into vapor. Replied once. Do not contact me for payment. Coordinate with Jake and my parents. The data room pinged again, opened by Brooks Council 112. Time on HELOC letter 4M55, AS. Operating agreement 3M10s. Foundation myths, press run of show plus planner emails, 2M01s. I pictured a conference table and 3 piles. Yes, no, never. Memo's doing work, Harper said, calling back. Brooks Council. We'll pause all vendor activity. Keep us apprised of any criminal referrals. Corporate 4, we smell smoke. Good, I said. Not triumph, not grief. Just setting something down. Detective Miguel Ramirez emailed next with a signature that had more phone numbers than mine. Please upload your full packet to the secure portal. Preserve all communications. FYI Bank referred notary irregularities to the state. I dropped the folder like a brick through a window and felt 6 ounces lighter. At 3:06 p.m., Charlotte received. Margaret appreciates the precision. We'll handle our side accordingly. Please keep this out of public channels. We intend to do the same. Publicity wasn't my plan. Proof was. But I heard the subtext, don't feed the press. Let old money put the story down quietly. I made tea and didn't drink it. For once my flat's quiet felt like a room rearranged so the window finally showed. My phone flared, Ava Brooks. Text, not call. I saw the memo. I need to hear it from you. Did your parents really forge your name? And did Jake know 2 questions? 1 legal, 1 relational. I typed 3 words, deleted them. Typed a sentence, deleted that too. Then sent the only answer that would hold yes to the first. As for the second, ask him to show you what he signed. As my thumb lifted the data room, pinged again, opened by Ava 3:19. Time on DocuSign. Audit 9M40s. The pendulum wasn't just moving, it was swinging back. By the time the fog lifted, a subject line was waiting like a dare. Case number assigned financial abuse complaint. Complainants. Caleb and Marjorie Hart. A minute later, my phone rang. Ms. Hart, Detective Miguel Ramirez. Calm voice. Paper over drama. Your parents reported you for withholding family funds and harassment. I also have a bank referral about a forged deed to the same address. Both can't be true. I'd like your file. I have a file, I said. Buckle up. We'll use our secure portal, he said. Upload everything chain of title, DocuSign certificate, notary logs, escrow. Hold your timeline, any messages about condo sale funds. Keep the metadata. Facts, not adjectives. Exactly. I opened Northbridge vs. Hart evidence and added an index item, numbers, descriptions, dates, sources. Exhibit a DocuSign audit trail. B recorded deed. C operating agreement. D bank letter, HELOC attempts, plus TRO hold. E title / escrow emails. F Sloan's financial point of contact email. G the family's misunderstanding texts. H my 4-year timeline of support. Harper called while I was renaming PDFs. Saw the case number, she said. Congratulations, you're officially interesting. I'd prefer boring. Ramirez wants everything. Good. He's methodical. OneNote don't summarize texts. Export screenshots with timestamps. Judges trust clocks. On it. I uploaded the lot and added a cover note. Detective Ramirez attached our exhibits AH with date timestamps. Chain of title. Shows the condo belongs to Northbridge Holdings, LLC. Me. The court froze proceeds by TRO. The notary packet has irregularities. My parents' complaint appears retaliatory after their attempted sale was stopped. I'm in London this week. Available in person next week. Olivia E. Hart. 10 minutes later, files received. 2 minutes after that, Ramirez again. I appreciate the organization, he said. I wish everyone labeled exhibits. I wish I never had to learn how. Fair. Here's where we are. Maps in his voice. The bank referred the notary issues to the state. We'll subpoena DocuSign's audit logs, and the remote notary video. If it's missing, that's its own problem. Your parents claim you control and withhold family funds and threaten to ruin a wedding. Do you have anything in writing that contradicts that? I pulled up timeline of support. 4 years of mortgage and bills. And a Turo to maintain the status quo, stop a fraudulent transfer. Do you want a victim statement? 1 page, he said. Facts. When you learned what you did. Impact. The DA likes clean. I wrote while he stayed on the line. On deck 24, my parents said they sold my condo to fund my brother's wedding. The condo is owned by my LLC. DocuSign shows my signature completed from their home IP with an incorrect ID number and the notary video missing. I sought a TRO. The court froze proceeds. My bank identified prior attempts to open credit in my name. I ended 4 years of private financial support to my parents. They then filed a police report alleging I'm abusing them financially. I will cooperate fully and pursue forgery/identity theft charges if warranted. I sent it as Exhibit 1. Textbook Ramirez said. One more thing, your parents applied for a temporary restraining order claiming harassment. It was mailed to your condo. The process server couldn't affect personal service. Hearing next Wednesday. Can you be here? I stared at the Thames. I'll be on a plane. Bring your exhibits. We'll loop the DA's intake attorney. Don't contact them in the meantime. I haven't, I said. I can see that. A beat. We're also pulling the notary's commission file. Remote sessions must be retained. If there wasn't one or it was spoofed, that's another count. You're doing the right things, Ms. Hart. Stay bored. We hung up. Boredom used to be a luxury. It was my life before I funded everyone else's. I forwarded the hearing notice to Harper. She called instantly. I'll file an opposition to their restraining order, and if they keep pinging you, a cross request for a civil harassment order. We'll attach your exhibits and statements. Judges don't love ex parte theater, especially against a clean record. Do we ask for sanctions? I asked crisp like I'd earned a JD. She chuckled. Let's see how performative they get. For now, denial and fees. I'm also retaining a forensic document examiner to compare your known signatures with the DocuSign version. It's overkill with the IP logs, but judges adore an expert who says, this stroke order is wrong, and I'll subpoena the notary's KBA prompts. Sometimes the questions convict themselves, which is your high school. If they pick Jake's, I will frame it. A ping, Sloan still spinning straw into press. Hi, Olivia Press wants clarity. If we position this as a misunderstanding, there's still a love conquers obstacles angle. Call me. I forwarded it to Harper. Foundation myths. New tab, she replied. My parents changed tactics next. Mom. We're willing to forgive you if you stop this. Family above all. Dad. We'll say we misunderstood. You keep paying until the wedding, then we revisit. A plea deal from people who don't believe in court. I didn't answer. Transparency isn't a text. It's a folder. It's a judge's stamp. It's an investigator who prefers clocks to tears. Before shutdown, Ava texted once more, sharp as a pin. He won't show me what he signed. I typed, ask him why he won't. She didn't reply. London went quiet in the way a city does when it finally lets the grown children work it out. I packed a carry-on Unwrinkleables Resolve. I printed 2 exhibit sets with tab dividers because sometimes theater helps. As I slid the last binder into my bag, Ramirez emailed, DA intake preliminary review complete. Please make yourself available for a sworn statement on arrival. Then a second line I read twice. We anticipate charging decisions reforged instrument and identity theft, pending notary records. The accused had become the complainant. The story didn't flip because I yelled louder. It flipped because the paper did. I zipped my bag and looked at the river one last time. Somewhere across the ocean, a courtroom calendar just made space for my name. The courthouse smelled like old paper and burnt coffee institutions, outliving everyone's patience. I stood outside Department 6 with a binder under my arm, tabs neat as stitches, exhibit a deed. B operating agreement, C DocuSign, Audit D Bank, letter E escrow, Hold F planner emails, G family texts. Timeline of support. I victim statement. Harper smoothed her jacket like armor. Judge Martinez reads. Answer only what she asks. Detective Ramirez passed with a nod. No flourish. I see you. I brought my files too. Inside the gallery filled with Whispers vendors, a disguised reporter Sloan in contrite neutrals. Jake sat behind our parents' tie-crooked eyes on his hands. No Ava. The Brooks don't spectate. They send counsel. All rise. Judge Martinez took the bench, tidy bob pen clicks for punctuation. Northbridge Holdings, LLC, versus Caleb and Marjorie Hart. Plaintiff seeks to convert a TRO to a preliminary injunction. Defendants seek a civil restraining order. Appearances: Harper West for Plaintiff Northbridge Holdings, LLC. Caleb and Marjorie Hart, Dad said. Pro se, Your Honor. Of course. They'd hired the story, not a lawyer. I've read the briefs, the judge said. Ms. West, briefly. Title is vested in Northbridge Holdings, LLC, Harper said. Defendants executed a purported sale without member consent using a forged DocuSign signature and an irregular remote notarization. The bank has sequestered proceeds. Escrow is frozen. We ask the court to maintain the status quo and deny defendants' retaliatory request. The judge flipped to a tab I knew was our audit trail. Mr. and Mrs. Hart, Dad squared himself. We are a family, Your Honor. Our daughter has supported us for years. The condo was a family asset. We sold it to fund a family celebration. No harm intended. The title does not say family, Judge Martinez said evenly. It says Northbridge Holdings, LLC. Did you have written authority from the member to convey we handled paperwork Mom offered? We had her signature. Did you? The judge's eyebrow ticked. Exhibit C shows a DocuSign envelope created by you, Mrs. Hart, from your home IP delegated to Olivia E. Hart, then completed from the same IP. The notary journal lists a driver's license that doesn't match Ms. Hart's. The remote video is missing. Does any of that resemble her signature silence? Jake's knuckles blanched. We were under time pressure. Mom tried. Vendors needed deposits. Olivia's always been generous, the judge supplied. Exhibit H confirms 4 years of mortgage and bills. Generosity is not the legal authority to sell her company's assets. Dad reached for righteousness. We did it for the good of the family. The Civil Code contains no exception for the good of the family, the judge said, pen clicking once. Fraud is fraud, whether it buys groceries or orchids. A hush settled. Harper stepped in. Exhibit D also confirms prior failed HELOC attempts in plaintiff's name. The risk is ongoing. Without injunctive relief, interference continues. Detective, the judge asked. Ramirez had taken a courtesy seat at the counsel table. Status on the notary referral, open and active, Your Honor. We've requested DocuSign logs and the video. State licensing is notified. Very well. She looked back to my parents. Any admissible evidence you had authority? Dad swallowed. It was understood. Not by the law, she said. Here's my ruling. She read like a metronome. Plaintiff shows likelihood of success. Equities favor maintaining the status quo. Unrebutted evidence shows irregularities in execution and notarization. The TRO is converted to a preliminary injunction. Escrow remains frozen. No disbursements. Defendants are enjoined from representing any authority over the property or proceeds. A page turn. As to defendants' restraining order, denied. The record shows Ms. Hart ceased voluntary support and sought lawful remedies. That is not harassment. Fees of $4 and $200 to plaintiff payable by defendants within 60 days. Mom made a small porcelain crack sound. This court also refers the notarization and suspected forgery to the district attorney, the judge added. Detective coordinate with my clerk on records. Counsel prepare the order. Yes, Your Honor, Harper said, already writing. Dad tried one last appeal. Your Honor, this will ruin our son's wedding. If the wedding relied on a fraudulent conveyance, the judge said without looking up, ruin is not the court's doing. Jake's head dropped. Nothing spiked in my chest, no triumph, no panic. Just quiet. Sloane half rose. The bailiff's look sat her down before she could float the misunderstanding into the record. Anything further, the judge asked. 2 items, Harper said. Order defendants not to contact vendors using plaintiff's name and to issue corrections regarding condo sale funds. Granted. Corrective communications within 72 hours. The court is adjourned. No gavel slam, just a tap that settled the room. In the corridor's fluorescent honesty, Mom dabbed smeared mascara. Dad stared a few inches to the right of accountability. Jake avoided my eyes. Harper squeezed my elbow. Good facts. Clean record. Hold the line. Ramirez paused. Expect the DA's intake call. We'll want sworn statements once the notary logs arrive. This isn't over, but you're standing on bedrock. Thank you, I said, surprised at my own calm, the tiredness that comes after moving furniture you thought you couldn't lift. Down the hall, Sloane cornered Jake. He gestured at the ceiling like there might be a wire transfer in it. I kept walking. I didn't need that oxygen. Outside, winter air hit like clarity. Harper was already dictating language for the order. Ramirez vanished down a stairwell, the man who carries the file when the story gets noisy. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost let it go, then saw the preview, Ava, I need to see you. He won't tell me the truth, so I'm coming to find it. Jet lag hits me in the bones first. I stepped from the rideshare and stood there, like I'd been poured onto the sidewalk, bag at my ankles, winter light knifing between buildings. Carlos, the doorman, lifted a hand. Ms. Hart, welcome home. The off-duty warmth I'd missed. Thanks, Carlos. I signed for a thin stack of mail vendor flyers and 3 recorder envelopes I already had as PDFs. He placed my key in my palms like a ceremony. The metal felt cool and honest. Upstairs, the condo exhaled faint tea in the air, the shadow of my reading chair, the thin line of books exactly where I'd left them 8 months ago. Like stepping into an old photograph where everyone is still alive. I set my bag down and didn't turn on the lights. Afternoon laid quiet rectangles across the floor. Far below, a siren thinned to nothing. I pressed my fingers to the glass and watched strangers move through their lives, blessedly unaware of mine. My phone buzzed face down. Ava, it's done. I ended it. Then, thank you for making the truth impossible to ignore. I typed and erased 3 replies. I'm sorry, I know it shouldn't be like this, and sent the only sentence that fit. You deserved clarity. Her dots disappeared. Old money doesn't do speeches. It makes decisions. I made tea I didn't drink, and set the mug beside the faint ring from a life ago. The quiet had weight. For once it didn't crush me. Renee Patel called no small talk. Ms. Hart following our review in addition to the 3 HELOC attempts we flagged at First Federal. A consortium alert shows 2 earlier collateral applications at a different bank, same data points. Both blocked at identity verification. Different banks, same playbook, I said. Same IP neighborhood too, she added dry as twine. We forwarded to Detective Ramirez. Written notice coming. Thank you, I said. And meant it. I walked the condo like a museum I might never visit again. The doorframe where I marked my first raise with a pencil line only I could see. The moving blanket I never returned. I sat on the floor and let the boards be honest about winter. Harper called over the hum of printers and staples. How does it feel? Like the house is the same size, I said, and I'm not. Then let's make the outside match the inside. You told me in London you were considering selling. I don't want to live inside a courtroom exhibit. List it. Not from fear choice. Copy, she said. I'll vet 3 brokers who won't turn your story into marketing. We'll list through Northbridge so title searches stay clean. And Liv, if your parents try to cloud the title, we'll be at the recorder before their pen hits paper. You always know how to make a girl feel safe. My voice didn't tremble. It didn't need to. I pulled a legal pad and made 2 columns. Keep my grandmother's ring. The first edition I bought myself. The kettle for stubbornness. Release the couch that remembers too many Sunday lectures. The rug Mom swore made it a real home. every invisible bill I ever paid to feel like a daughter. I texted Carlos about furniture donation pickup. He replied with 3 time slots and an old-fashioned. The doorknob wobbled under my hand as if the building wanted to ask, "Are you sure I was?" On my laptop. Subject disposition plan. 1. Engage broker under Northbridge. 2. Accept offers at appraisal or better. No letters to seller. 3. Close cleanly. Proceeds remain in Northbridge pending criminal resolution. 4. After sale terminate utilities. Forward mail to P.O. Box. London remains base. 5. Donate furniture. Retain personal effects only. 6. Issue final no further assistance letter via council. I attached photos of the condo in an honest light. Beautiful and a little sad, the dress that still fits, but isn't your style anymore. My mother called. I let it ring out. Her voicemail came tight-clipped. Selling that condo is vindictive. You'll regret it. Where will you come when you need a family? I filed it under exhibits harassment versus accountability and refused its space in my body. The buzzer startled me. Package for you, Ms. Hart, Carlos said. State Notary Division. Copies of my complaint and a curt acknowledgement investigation pending. A form asking if I'd testify. I signed it at the counter with a pen that finally felt like mine. Dusk stitched the city lights on. I stood at the window and let the skyline do what skylines do, ignore my choices. Mercy. A soft knock. Ava in jeans and a clean face. No entourage. No parents. Just a woman who refused to be fooled. I won't stay, she said. I wanted to say this to your face, I'm sorry. For not asking the right questions sooner. For believing the story that felt safest. You don't owe me that, I said. I do. And I owe myself a better exit than a press statement. She hesitated. He asked me to wait it out and said you'd come around. I asked him to show me what he signed. He wouldn't. That was enough. She glanced past me. It's lovely. It was, I said. Now it's a deposit on peace. She nodded. If anyone asks, tell them I left before the scandal, not because of it. Let them keep their pride. A small, real smile. Good luck, Olivia. You too. After she left, I locked the door and set the deadbolt like a period. I found the spare keys with the old brass tag, Hart, from when I thought that word meant the same thing to all of us, and placed them in a dish labeled, for the realtor. An email from Renee landed formal confirmation of those 2 additional attempts, PDFs attached with a subject line any DA would love. I forwarded to Ramirez and Harper More Fuel. The kettle clicked. I finally poured the tea, sat cross-legged on the rug I decided to give away, and drank to the last line. It tasted like endings and clean water. In notes I wrote a goodbye that wasn't poetry, just a receipt I'm selling the place I bought to prove I could. I'm keeping the self that doesn't have to. If you're looking for me, I'll be somewhere that doesn't require a deed to feel safe. A calendar ping from Harper's office broker, walk through 10 a.m. A text from Ramirez Notary, records received. We'll be moving quickly now. I set the phone face down and stood. One more night here by choice. Tomorrow, stagers would erase me with throws and fake lemons. I wasn't sad. I was light. At the doorway, I looked back not for nostalgia, for inventory. Nothing here owned me anymore. My last thought before sleep was absolute. I will never be anybody's emergency fund again. By morning, the first showing request pinged before the coffee finished dripping. Then a second. And unexpectedly an email from a local news producer. Segment idea. Financial boundaries. Interested, I stared at the screen and smiled. Looks like Chapter 12 wants an audience. The morning the stagers arrived, I pocketed the keys and took the stairs. My suitcase murmured behind me, soft, forgiving, like it knew I was leaving for good and wouldn't make a scene. Carlos held the door as if lifting a curtain for a bow. Headed out, he asked. For now, I said. We both knew what for now meant. Not running, choosing. Outside, winter had scoured the sky to a clean, undecorated blue. On the curb, I did the thing I should have done years ago. I opened contacts and started deleting Mom, Dad, Jake, cousin, Laya, The gossip relay 3 vendors who only had my number because someone told them I was handling it, and Sloane with her little X kisses. Tap. Delete. Not a tantrum, a cleaning. The phone felt lighter with every name I stopped carrying. I didn't delete Harper or Renee or Detective Ramirez. Some people are scaffolding. Some are weight. Know the difference and your neck stops hurting. Down the sidewalk, a couple argued about bagels. A dog read lampposts like they were letters addressed to him. The city moved without permission slips. A text buzzed before I called a car. Harper Broker accepted your listing plan. 2 offers are likely this week. Ramirez has the notary. Records video is instructive. We'll update. Translation: the part of the story that needs justice will get it without my supervision. Systems can use both hands. The rideshare pulled up. I loaded my suitcase and took one last look at a building that taught me a hard truth: sometimes the safest place you can live is the one with the least of you inside. I don't call what happened revenge because it wasn't. Revenge wants an audience. Boundaries work with or without applause. This was me taking my name off lists. It never belonged on and putting it back on the only deed that matters: my life. The airport did its choreography: shoes, off, laptop, out, breath, held until the green light says, "You may continue." I slid into a window seat and watched a woman across from me juggle 2 boarding passes and not cry. I nudged over a granola bar. "Travel's easier if your blood sugar's altruistic," I said. She laughed. Something small didn't break. In the air, I kept airplane mode longer than necessary. When I turned the phone on, the notifications were almost polite. Renee formal, confirmation attached. 2 earlier collateral attempts, different bank, same IP neighborhood. Ramirez statement Friday. You won't be surprised by the notary video. Ava. Nothing which felt right. She'd exited like a professional, quietly, decisively, no door left ajar for a sequel she didn't want. I opened notes and made a list called What I Keep My Signature. Money decisions in writing. My calendar for people who show up with respect, not bills. My first name and I stop answering to the responsible one like it's my last. When the attendant asked for my order, I said, water, clear, no garnish, no metaphor. My mother used to say I was too practical to be romantic. I'm discovering there's romance in precision: a bank that says no, a judge that says granted, a friend who doesn't need you to break so they can feel whole. Somewhere over clouds fat as sheep, I scrolled apartments in cities that don't know me. London blinked like a grin I recognized. So did Portland with its earnest rain. Chicago in that 1 month where winter is forgiven. Lisbon in tile and light. The point wasn't latitude. It was a new language, and it wasn't English or Portuguese, it was a boundary. I thought about the women who DM'd after the article ran: teachers, nurses, the mom who's packed lunches for a decade, and realized she's also been packing everyone's bailouts. Their stories wore my story in different clothes. I didn't know I could say no. I thought paying was good for me. They called me ungrateful when I stopped. I saved every message. I answered as many as I could with the only line that matters: you're allowed to keep what you work for. We landed into a serviceable gray. I passed a newsstand and didn't buy the glossy about the wedding that wasn't. They can keep the rumor mill. I have documents. At the curb, I called a number that still feels like home when she answers. Made it, Harper said. Made it, I said. List the condo. Take the highest clean offer. Keep everything else moving. Are you sure about where you're going next? No, I said, smiling. But I'm sure about who. In my family, departures had to be loud tackle hugs advice. I didn't ask for a baggie of snack mix like you can bribe turbulence. I had none of that. I had a suitcase that shut without kneeling on it, a bank account no one else had memorized, and a folder called Paper Armor with copies of what used to be invisible. Before the car pulled away, I recorded a message not for court, not for proof, just for anyone who recognizes their bones in mine. This isn't a revenge arc, I said to the camera. It's a naming ceremony. I used to be the one who fixes it. Today I'm just Olivia. If your family treats your generosity like a tax they're owed, call it what it is. Not love, not loyalty. A bill you no longer agree to pay. I saved it. Not a talisman. A breadcrumb for the next woman out of the maze built from good intentions and forged signatures. As the city unspooled, a last text lit the screen. Ramirez charging decisions soon. Rest. I turned the phone face down and actually did. I don't know which city I'll choose. Maybe back to London and a plant I can't kill. Maybe somewhere I don't know the shortcuts to my old habits. I do know this: the next set of keys I accept won't come with a script that makes me treasurer and scapegoat in the same breath. We turned a corner and the skyline rearranged itself into something I hadn't memorized. I looked straight at it and let the quiet inside me be the loudest thing in the car. If you've stayed this long, you know how it ends, not with a gavel or a wedding march, but with a woman deleting numbers and adding her own. And if you're waiting for a sign, here's your translation: boundaries are a kind of love, and sometimes the first person you learn to love that way is yourself. If you're dealing with financial abuse, you're not alone. Share your story anonymously if you need to in the comments or by email. Send this to someone who needs it. And today, build your paper armor title assets correctly. Keep copies enable. Two-factor freeze your credit document, everything. Your name belongs to you.